The presenting sponsor of Moontower Soccer is FVF Law.
To find out what makes FVF a different kind of injury law firm, you can visit fvf.law.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Swoontower Soccer. I'm your host, Steph Cragnola.
And I'm Mike Cragnola.
And today, we're all about the boys.
That's right. And we have got a mega episode. Mm-hmm. We got done with a special interview. Not just Batty, the mascot of the match this week, but some two very special people in the Austin FC community.
Yeah, so we are going to rifle through all of this stuff at the top, and then we will get you the full interview experience at the end.
Yeah, the stuff you really want. And so we should just jump right into this. We have a new boy alert. That's the sound?
Yeah.
All
or
right.
It should be like, woo, 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 woo. Like wooing?
Yeah. I like that. Woo. I like that better.
Yeah, thank you.
So our new boy alert is for Alexander Radovanovic. Radovanovic is a 29-year-old center back coming to us from afar. And Steph, what are your first kind of thoughts?
My first thought is that he looks hard as heck.
Yes.
Like, he looks like he'll fight you.
Yeah, he looks intense. One of his first pictures on Instagram is his own face bleeding.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
I'm also excited.
You had a good take on what his looks are like.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I told Steph immediately when we signed him, this man looks like Nick Miller from New Girl, and Jared Stroud had a baby, and that baby lifted weights with Julio.
And it's like a little upsetting because so pause this. We'll put a link to him and the other pictures. If you haven't seen New Girl, go watch it. But we'll link all of those pictures, and it's uncanny, and you're never going to unsee it, and you'll never forgive Mike.
There are so many great pictures of him on his Instagram making Nick Miller-esque faces, and I just can't get over it. I'm so happy that he's joining our team, and I cannot wait to have him here.
Yes. So our first special interview of the day we can move on to, and that is Batty.
Yeah, we met Batty outside of the Colorado match just before we went and watched a 1-1 draw. Yeah.
Batty is a mixed breed, medium-sized, 50-ish pounds, 4-year-old puppy dog. And I have never seen a dog that looks more like a hippopotamus than this dog.
Yeah, it looks like a big old triangle, too. It looks like he has the back half of a different dog and the front half of a bodybuilder and the head of, like, just the world's cutest hippopotamus.
He is so sweet and so loving and so wiggly. And let's just hear from him himself. Hey, Batty. We're so excited to have you here as the mascot of the match. We've got a couple questions for you.
All right, Batty. First off, I want to know, do you think the team can bounce back from that game in Houston? Oh, yeah, me too.
Great answer. All right, Batty, I want to know which player on the team you most want to echolocate. Same.
I'm always wondering what he's up to. All right, Batty, can we get a listo verde from you?
Thank you, Batty.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Batty. I'm going to give you 1,000,000 stalactites out of 10.
What?
Stalactite, like bats.
Oh.
Like bats like stalactites because they can hide in them.
Sure, yeah. I'm going to give him half as many kisses as he gave me, which is still more kisses than anyone has ever deserved.
Yeah. He's so cute.
Perfect.
You should go to Austin Pets Alive and adopt Batty right now. The link is in the show notes. It's so easy for you.
Invite us over when you do.
Please.
We love you, Batty.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what else I love?
What?
Jet's Pizza.
Ooh, yeah, same, honestly.
This isn't an ad. We don't get paid by Jet's Pizza, but I wish we did. For the Houston match, which we need to talk about only in passing, we watched this match with friends and got to eat Jet's Pizza for the first time.
It was so good.
It was really good.
We also got to eat the most delicious, what were they called? Brookies?
Yes.
Brownie cookies?
That's right.
This was a week of food review.
Yes. Yep. That's the Houston match that I remember.
Yeah.
Is the food was good.
But then again, at the Austin FC 2 match,
Yes.
little FACito,
That's
we
right.
also got delicious food. Not only did we get the best chocolate cake I've ever eaten in my life,
True.
we got some Derek Ensign barbecue.
And it was really good.
Really good.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
Derek, great job.
It was really
appreciate
fun.
you. If you're not a member of Los Verdes, by the way, you should become one so that you can get invited to their cookouts and Derek Ensign can cook barbecue for you.
It was just a really sweet environment because showing up for these kids' first game and having this tailgate in the parking lot, which isn't something that we typically do for soccer matches, was a really fun way to get hype for it, bring a lot of people together. It was nice.
Yeah, a lot of people in the area were saying, "Oh, it feels like a high school football game. It feels like a high school football game." And to me, I didn't know what that really meant because growing up in New England at our tiny high school, everyone came to the football game for halftime. And so no one would be there the first 2 quarters. And then right at the end of the second quarter, everybody would show up to watch the marching band.
Right. Well, that's because you had an award-winning marching band.
Well, sure. But then they would play and then everyone would leave.
Oh,
and that
that's
was
so
it.
sad.
It was, and so to me, it didn't feel like a high school football game. It felt sick.
I had a lot of fun. It was great to hang out with folks. It was great to kind of be in it because, we're usually a little bit removed from La Murga, but we were right next to the drum. I don't think I've ever seen anything cuter than these tiny little kids running up to hold the flags.
Oh my gosh, I know. And learning the chants.
Oh my gosh.
So sweet.
Dancing around. They were adorable. I loved it.
You know what else was adorable?
What?
How many first teamers were at the Austin FC 2 match?
Oh, yeah.
I saw Danny, I saw Julio, I saw Jean, I saw Diego, Brad, Seba, Maxi, Hector, Sofiane Jafal. I saw Coach Wolf. It was just really sweet.
You saw Coach Wolf hanging out with Danny?
Yeah, honestly. So Landon and Jeremiah mentioned that there was a point where Coach Wolf was sitting crisscross applesauce with his son Gavin and explaining what was going on the field. The cuter moment for me was when Coach Wolf was sitting with his son Danny and explaining what was going on in the field, and they were pointing things out to each other. Just so adorable.
There was it the Apple TV interview when Danny said, the guys joke that Wolf is like my dad.
Yes.
It just reinforced that so much, and it was so sweet.
Yeah. Danny, they joke about that because you are his son.
Great match. We won.
Really fun. Really fun to see the vibes at Austin FC 2. I will absolutely be going back to one of those matches.
My other favorite part of that was watching Kippy play.
Oh,
and
I know.
seeing the tiny little trickle of confidence start to come back to him.
Yeah, let's go, Kippy.
It seemed like he needed that so badly. He played well, he did what he needed to do, but just he was eating up the crowd, and the crowd was so in support of him that I think that I'm sure did wonders for his whole brain.
Yeah, it was great to see. At the end of the match, everybody's chanting, Kippy,
Yeah.
Kippy, Kippy. Our interviewees called that out as being a special moment in the match. We didn't talk about it on the podcast, but I did want to give that little bit of color there as well.
Yeah.
They thought that was really special, so great work, y'all.
Yeah. All right, you want to move on to Colorado?
Yeah, I do. Something that to me stuck out about Colorado was seeing the way that I think Danny and Sofiane clearly they must communicate together in a better way than maybe Danny and Valencia do because
you're dipping into Moontower territory.
Well, no, I mean friend style.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
They were smiling and joking with each
take
other
it.
a little bit more than I was seeing before.
Yeah, I think it's cute. They clearly have a friendship. and you can see it in their playing.
Yeah. You know what else I saw during Colorado?
What?
What I'm dubbing Mad Maxie.
Oh. Yeah, he is spicy over in the subs corner.
Yeah, when he doesn't get to play, man, he is heated. But I will say that it was nice that he got to warm up with Diego, even though, people have feelings about Diego not starting or starting, whatever. That's not this show. But what is this show is Maxie and Diego were clearly hanging out with each other and Rodney before any of them got to go in. Mm-hmm. And then when poor Maxie was the only one who didn't go in,
I know.
Pretty upset.
So
upsetty spaghetti.
Yeah, he was upsetty spaghetti. But I guess backing up a little bit before that, what was really sweet just about the subs in general is all of their high fives as they came out to warm up. Not only were they high fiving like the little kids who were holding out their hands, but also like PA, who does every one of the video crew, they're like high fiving and fist bumping.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah.
It's like they know that the video team is a bunch of all-stars and the best video team in the world. And the video team knows the players are the best players in the whole world. And so, obviously they respect each other.
Speaking of the best person in the whole world, I do want to take a moment to talk about Rodney and, how proud I am of my sweet angel son.
Yeah, he had a great run.
He did.
He looked really good out there.
He did. I have no time for people who are judging any bit of his last, previous playing moments against this game because he looked great objectively, not just because I love him. And I'm really proud of him. And I really, really wish he had made that goal.
Oh my God, me too. The whole stadium would have blown up. I saw somebody tweet they've got plans for Q3 in case Q2 blows up, which I just thought was so funny.
Oh gosh, yes. I can't wait. It's going to happen. I can feel it.
It's in your bones.
It's in my bones.
Speaking of in his bones, it must be because we're moving into Celly ratings and we are talking about John Gallagher again this week.
Yeah. This was kind of a weird one.
Dude can't stop scoring goals.
He also can't stop pointing at his head. But I feel like this one was weird because it was VAR. We had a separation between the actual the goal being scored and then it actually counting. So I didn't feel the hype of this one quite as much as maybe others. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10.
You know what I liked best about this one was that it was Seba who ran down to the corner to celebrate where they scored the goal and led John that way to be like, no, we're taking this time. We're taking this moment. You earned this.
Yeah.
And that captaining on the field like that gets a 9.5 from me. You know it does.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good shout.
We also had 2 Austin Efecito goals.
Yeah, Valentin Noel scored 2 goals. There were some, sweet little player dog piles, but I'm gonna give these as a whole 5 out of 10. There's
on
room
both of them.
Yeah, there's room for growth.
Wow, I really love a team celebration. I think the outpouring of joy that comes from doing things as a unit. And both of these goals were great team goals, right? So I am glad that the team celebrated them together. Watching Kippy come over the top during the first goal, that made it a 9.5 for me. I
just feel like if we're going to go full team celebration, I want something like Nashville where they're all in a band or something, you know?
Sure. But the second goal, the thing I loved about the second goal is that it's another team goal. They all scored it together. And so they ran to celebrate it together, and they celebrate it in front of the makeshift supporter section there. It's clearly just so hyped that everybody was there cheering them on. I give that one a 9.5 too.
All right. You know what I give a 9.5?
What's that?
Emmy Rigoni's outfit.
Ooh, it was wild.
It looks like, you know what it looks like to me?
Snakes.
So we're moving into our fit check section, obviously. But it looks like when you get those drawings or images online and they're like, you see an old lady, but also you see a young girl.
It's a rabbit and a duck.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what this shirt reminds me of.
Yeah. Is it the World Cup?
What am I supposed to be seeing?
Yeah, is it the World Cup or is it 2 elephant ears
or is it an old lady?
It reminds me of, when Jafar in Aladdin becomes an evil genie.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
Interesting.
Maybe that's just because I still think Emiliano Rigoni looks like a sexy Jafar.
Yeah. Yes.
I do want to call out how good Jossie's sweater is.
Mm-hmm.
Man might not be putting in goals, but he is putting in fashion work.
Yes. But speaking of sweaters, I'm gonna say something that I don't know if I've ever said on this podcast before. Brad Stuver, top fit check.
Wow. Yeah.
That like short sleeve green sweatshirt type of deal. Ooh, I loved it. I loved everything about it.
I think it's interesting that you chose to call that color green.
You don't think it was green?
No, it's very clearly tan.
It's like
if not
moss. It's like mossy.
Beige?
Mossy.
Maybe khaki?
Absolutely not. It is no such thing.
I'm just saying. Folks at home, you let us know what color that was. You may have to stalk his Instagram somewhere because it is not on team socials. So you may have to dig for it. But
yeah, it was really, really good.
I am just saying that is not green.
Maybe it's like, yeah, now that I'm looking at it again, it's maybe not.
It might be khaki.
It's definitely, no, I would say that's like camel.
Okay. I'll accept camel. We did find out some secret sauce about this fit here from Brad Stuver at the Laundry Project fundraiser this past weekend.
I also will say, like, I'm noticing I hate the tan less on top and these black pants.
They're blue.
Oh. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so I clearly have a problem with colors. But I'm just saying the dark pants look great, and I don't want to take any credit, but like... Oh.
Are you going to take credit for this?
No.
Okay, so we got a chance to ask Brad Stuver at the Laundry Project fundraiser, hey man, we noticed your fits are getting better. What's the inspiration behind that? And he pointed at Steph.
I'm so sorry, Brad. It's just khakis. That's the only thing. It's just anything khaki.
Then we found out that he uses a service now so that he looks good on game day. And y'all, I think it's 100% worth it. I don't care what he's paying these people. He looks great.
Yes. Agreed.
So keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep renting that runway or whatever it is. You're pulling it off. It looks great.
Yes.
You know who I was disappointed with this week?
Was it Seba going fishing?
Honestly, am having a really hard time with the oversized vest look on Seba Driussi.
He just wants somewhere to store his tackle.
It's important to make sure that your pockets are appropriately stocked with flies and
bait
lures.
Management.
Yeah, I get it. What if you lose a sinker?
Yeah, other fishing words.
Yeah. Those are all the ones I know. Bobber also. But I can't think of a PG way to put that one in here. And so we're going to go on to talk about Austin FC 2 giving us little mini fit checks.
Yes, they also put out fit checks and it was so adorable. Like these, they're so young.
Some
right?
of them.
Like, they're all, yes.
Oh, sure. Compared to
babies.
us, yes. Fair enough. But also, like, some of these kids are just great.
Yeah.
The first picture on this with David Rodriguez looks so good.
He's got those Hector Jimenez pants.
He's got the Hector Jimenez pants. He's got the circle sunglasses, which I told you are coming. They're coming this year. A lot of people wearing them. Also, I liked his bag. He goes with just a classic black toiletry bag. And also is clearly the guy in charge of the Bluetooth speaker because he's got that on him too.
Yes.
I really like this fit a lot. It looks like linen, but might not be button up on the front. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. It was just really sweet that they gave us that content because, we want it.
Also, EJ Johnson, whatever those shoes are, so sick. They look so good. Way to match them to your shirt like that. So sick. So sick.
All right. Should we take a little break?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do an ad read. Swoontower Soccer is brought to you by our friends at FVF Law, the official injury lawyers of Austin FC.
FVF is a different kind of personal injury law firm dedicated to community, transparency, and client education.
You can go to fvf.law to find out what makes FVF a different kind of injury law firm and why understanding your legal options can dramatically change the outcome of a case.
That was so weird.
Listen, I want to try something new.
Okay.
I'm going to try an announcer voice sometimes.
Okay. You do you.
And up next.
Oh boy. All right. Social media standouts. We gotta hit through these hard.
You're right.
Because I'm gonna cry if we don't. We got a Instagram post of Julio FaceTiming with Ruben, and it was the cutest thing I've ever seen, and I did cry.
We can just sit on this for a couple of seconds because, oh my God, they're so cute together.
Yes.
Clearly best friends.
Yes.
Best friends forever.
I loved it.
The other thing that I really wanted to talk about this week on social media standouts is all of the work for Laundry Project that is going on right now, including our very own Moontower dads. If you leave a review right now, up until April 1st, and you know what? Even if it's on April 1st, I don't care. We're going to donate $5 as Moontower to the Laundry Project for every review that we get. And so again,
Get 'em in.
reminding y'all that the ask right now from the Swoontower community is whose hand would you like to hold walking out onto the field?
Yeah. Special shout out to Harley for doing some investigative research.
Yes.
And finding out that Brad does wear his gloves holding the hands of the kids coming out.
Which
so
only makes me want to be Brad's handholdee even more during that. Like, I just want to know what they feel like.
yeah. No, I love it. Also, massive shout out to Harley for yelling "I love you, Swoontower" at the Austin FC2 match. It was my favorite moment of the whole night.
I want to give a shout out to this Twitter thread that almost broke my heart.
Oh, yeah.
And like put me real deep in my feels immediately after that Colorado game. So there was a Twitter thread that went around from someone named Ann Leo, Verde por Vida on Twitter. And it talks about her son, Christian, and her going to the game. And after the game, they were waiting for their Uber at the player parking lot. And like watching the videos of this kid getting to interact with Josh Wolf and the players and like just hearing how excited he was. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
The absolute loss of voice and composure. And it's Josh Wolf.
Oh, so cute. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
They said hi to me. It's like just like, oh.
It was so sweet. And it just
sweet.
reminds us that like these kids are such good kids. And I mean kids in like our Austin FC boys. Like they're so sweet and kind with the community and with their time. And you just can't beat that.
Yeah, really, really special. Just so wonderful and cool to see. And that, like, definitely got me that night.
Mm-hmm. You know what got me? I am not a nails person. I keep my nails super short because of rock climbing. But I've never wanted a manicure more in my life than seeing Ashley Stuver's recent Twitter post of her Lisa Frank inspired keeper kit inspired nails.
Yeah, the Malibu stew nails are just so good. They're so joyously Eastery and like what a perfect vibe for right now.
They look incredible.
They look amazing. Highly recommend checking out Ashley Stuver's Twitter. All of her social media actually is very, very good. She's got the social advocacy side to her Twitter that just makes me so happy that the Stuvers are part of this whole project.
Especially today on Trans Day of Visibility. It's so important to make sure that y'all are staying on top of what's happening in Texas and in our country and doing what you can to counteract what some government officials are trying to do.
We really believe that y'all means all on Swoontower. And so let's make sure that we are living by those words and acting the way that we need to make sure that other people know that too. Speaking of other people knowing things, Kellen Acosta sharing Seba Driussi's outfit.
Feels like such a...
I know it's a hard transition, but like I wanted to talk about it because Kellen is like the fit guy in MLS. Like,
okay.
everyone says that's the dude.
Okay, well, if he thinks that Driussi's fishing gear is fashion...
That's what I'm worried about. Are we dinosaurs? No, it's the kids who are wrong.
No, I just think, I think fashion is subjective, and that's all we'll say. We are going to get into our super secret interview right now, and I know that now is usually when I say the man of my jersey, but I do reveal it in the end of that interview.
It's true. So you're going to have to listen to the whole interview to get to the end of the show, and I promise you're going to want to. We have got with us today a pair of very special guests. LeAnne is a nurse educator, and Ron is a small business owner and retired soccer referee. They're high school sweethearts celebrating 39 years of marriage this year. They have 2 sons, and as a whole, the family seems to really like Austin FC. Oh, and they're Brad Stuver's parents. Ron and LeAnne, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. We've been so excited about this for the couple days that we've known it's actually happening, but we've been excited about the idea of it for a very long time.
Yeah, I think the first time we got a like on Twitter on either of our posts from Ron and LeAnne Stuver, certified Twitter celebrities, we were like, how do we do this? How do we get them on the show? And we just got so
I don't know
lucky.
about celebrities, but
We find it rather interesting that people get all giddy about the fact that we've liked or retweeted something, because we've had people DM us back, and it's like, hey, we're just a couple of parents with a kid who's playing soccer, you know?
And it's so pure.
I think that's why it's so great, because there isn't that element of, defensiveness or feeling like you have to answer every hot take, or there's no negativity. No. It's just enjoying everything that's happening with the positive, wholesome side of Austin FC.
Yeah, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of soccer parents on Twitter that are funny to follow for different reasons. But like, y'all are just so effusively positive. You fit the vibe. And so we're so happy to have you.
Well, it would be even funnier if we tweeted everything we talk about here at home, but we try to filter it just a little bit.
Yeah, we do that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll say, this is what I would tweet. And I would just like type it to him in a text message, and like hitting send sometimes feels really good, but you haven't put it out on the internet.
Yeah. Y'all got to follow my burner where I just take screenshots of all these and post them up.
Awesome.
So let's talk about your relationship with soccer before the boys were involved at all. How did you become soccer fans, or how did you become involved in the sport?
That really started with the boys, because LeAnne and I grew up in a small town in Western Pennsylvania, and there was no no organized soccer in Pennsylvania at that time. Although I can say we did kick a ball around and we pretended to play soccer, and I'd heard of this Pele guy, and I actually tried one of those bicycle kicks over my head, but I was out on the street and landed on the asphalt, and I never did that ever again. So,
oh no.
So that was early soccer for me, but it was really when the kids got involved with it here that we jumped in, wouldn't you say?
yeah, especially Ryan, because he was our first one, obviously, into sports, and all the other sports were boring. There was too much standing around time for him. He picked flowers in the outfield during baseball. And so when he found soccer, it was great because he could run around the whole time. And Brad just kind of followed in his footsteps. So,
yeah, it was actually with Ryan, our older son, that I went to a referee class with him. And I decided I wanted to become more knowledgeable of the game. And I latched onto it through that class. I really became a student of the game through that experience.
That's awesome. Do y'all have teams, either inside or outside of MLS, that y'all follow now?
We watch a lot of soccer just because we like the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say we're really fans of any particular team. Ryan, our older one, is a high school coach, so we do go to some of his high school games and watch him coach, which is a different experience. But we're not really fans of a lot of other soccer teams. We just follow Brad.
We watch some EPL. I've had the opportunity to attend a Bundesliga game when I was over in Germany for work, and so I think it's more fun just to be a fan of the game and just look for games that you think are going to be fun to watch. That said, we have a kid who plays with this team in Austin, and if we had to name one that we kind of follow all the time, it's that Austin FC team. The guys that wear green.
They're so handsome. That's such a good choice. All the players on that team are so handsome. The goalkeeper especially. But
he doesn't get to wear green. He wears these funny pink and purple things all the time.
It's my favorite. It is my favorite keeper kit so far. I love it.
So, Steph, we talk about these crazy colors because Brad wore pink when he was in college too. And it was one of those things where when he started wearing colors like that, we both would say, Brad can pull that off. He looks good in that. And I would say, me? No, I don't think I can pull off pink. Just not me.
So you're fans of the sport in general. And I think obviously you have two favorite soccer players built in your family. But are there any other soccer players that stand out to you on and off the pitch? So in terms of like community outreach, like Brad does a lot of fan engagement, just general attitude or playing skills?
Yeah. This is my question I'm going to kind of take. I really have liked John Gallagher. I just think he really embodies doing whatever the team needs from, first time that he stepped in at right back when we were, needing somebody, and he volunteered to do it. And this year, all the different places he's played. So on the field, he's really the player that I admire for his real do whatever the team needs me to do. And I think off the field, we don't follow a lot of the players on social media, but I listen to a lot of things. And it sounds like Danny and Diego, are really tied into the community and the fans and doing lots of things out there. So those would be the two that stand out in my mind as far as being really involved with the fans.
Yeah, and I don't have a favorite, but I enjoy the opportunities when we're up in the family suite. I get to talk to some of the guys, and I like when it's before the game and things are kind of quiet. If any of the players show up early, it's kind of nice to just chat with them a little bit, and just find out who they are. It's so not really a favorite, just getting to know who the guys are is kind of fun.
Especially when we're not local. So,
right.
We don't get to meet them really very much. And when we only make a few trips to Austin a year, we don't get to know them as well as we would if we lived in Austin. So,
sure.
Yeah.
It's nice to just remember that they're kids, they're someone's kids, and they're just guys. And I think that, I don't know, I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Brad when he does all this community outreach. He's just hanging out. He's not sitting there as a celebrity, and there's no ego. There's no kind of feeling of separation. And it really makes you remember that these are just athletes, and this is their job, and they're just normal people. So getting to have those chats to find out who they are and the things that they like is really fun.
Yeah, I really love the perspective of, I wonder who my son's coworkers are. Mm-hmm. Who are his friends at work is just such a fun way to picture a soccer team. So thank you for that perspective.
Yeah. When we were in New York City, when Brad was there, and we went to a game, they used to have a little family buffet in this restaurant that was inside Yankee Stadium after each game. And we were able to go in there. And the neat thing was we would sit down with other families around a little booth and just chat it up a little bit before the players came out. And to your point, Steph, you just get to know them at a personal level and just who they are. Right? You forget the soccer ball for a few minutes and just talk about life.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I really like that.
Do y'all have any memories that really stand out from the last 3 years?
The Austin
era. Austin era here.
Yeah, well, we were fortunate enough that we got to come down for that home opener the first year. And so that was definitely just unbelievable to be there to experience that home opener at Q2. And last year we were there for the playoff shootout. So those are the two I know. It's a goalkeeper parent's nightmare. Exciting, but horribly terrifying.
So explain that and tell them about the high school story.
I mean, Brad's been in a lot of shootouts in his career, and in high school, one of our high school playoff games was going to a shootout.
His freshman year, when Ryan was a senior.
Yeah, and he was 5'0" as a goalkeeper in high school, and one of the other kids' parents on the team was like, "Oh, good, a shootout." I'm like, "Oh no, not a shootout." So yeah, it all depends on your perspective, but it was definitely exciting and memorable, especially the way it ended. So,
and what position did Ryan play?
He was a defender.
Okay.
So usually center back or outside back. So
got it. So you want to come play for Austin FC?
There's actually been a couple times he said, maybe I should go play for us. He knows he couldn't really do it, but he likes to say it.
I mean, for a while, it seemed like anybody over 6 feet might have a chance, right? Like we saw poor Nick Lima out there trying to go for headers this past weekend. So, I mean...
Well, what I was going to say was it must have been, if both of them were playing, if he were on offense, like it would have been doubly nerve-wracking for y'all because you've got Brad in goal and then also Ryan trying to get that PK. So like there's just no winning for you in that scenario.
Yeah. The funny thing was they both did take PKs.
Yeah, so
Brad actually kicked the PK in that shootout and scored it. So
wow.
And I think he had a stop, and we ended up winning that game.
Yeah.
And there was a college coach there who was scouting one of the other players, one of Ryan's teammates. He was scouting, but I remember the story being he saw Brad and wondered what was wrong with the high school coach that he would put that 5'0" freshman in goal. And then at the end of the game, he says, "Okay, I get it now."
That's amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So for me, it was, I mean, the PK shootout was just number one on my list. That was just so amazing. And, to be there for that was also special. But I think the other heart-stopping moment that I reflect on was when he got hurt in the Houston game last year. And as a parent,
watching on TV.
So as a referee, when I see guys go down and they roll 5 ways this way and then they roll 10 ways back this way, they're not really hurt, right? When they hit the ground and they don't move, that's when you're worried about it. And as a parent, when I saw Brad go down and he just stayed in the back of the goal, I said, "Oh crap, he's hurt."
And you don't have any angle.
Left him to go watch the Houston guys celebrating the goal. And we're like, "Go back, show us what's going on with Brad."
Right.
I mean, we were in the stadium for that match. We were in the Austin away section, right? And we were having the same reaction, clearly less than y'all, right? But
I could see it all.
Yeah, but we're watching it and we're like, "No, come on, get up. And we as a fan base, right? Y'all know we sing the whole time. And this was one of those moments where we should we stop?
Everyone was just
everyone's looking around what do we do? How do we handle this, right? Our talisman, the only the brightest shining spot of our first season, right, is down. It's too early. We're against our rivals. And so I can't even imagine for y'all.
We were just really worried about him. We're parents, right? So we were just worried about him as an individual. And then somewhere in the course of the next hour or two, he texted a picture of his leg, and it was just gruesome. And, LeAnne's a nurse and could understand what was going on. And it's one of those things where when we saw what was going on, we knew how serious it was. And, we were reading some tweets, and there were some people who thought he, just had a cut, he'll be fine. Well, we knew that they were looking at a cut that was so deep you could see bone. So we knew it was really serious.
And was that the first that you heard from him. I'm looking at this like from the perspective of my parents. If I didn't text my mom immediately, like everything would spiral out of control.
I called Ashley right away.
Okay.
Because she doesn't always watch the game live because she gets so nervous. And so we were talking, and Brad actually called her from the ambulance. So she hung up with me to talk with Brad. So it was pretty quick. He sent somebody in the locker room to get his phone.
Okay, good.
So that he would have it with him. And like I said, he was texting us pictures from the ambulance with his feet, of course, hanging out over the gurney. Wasn't long enough, which was quite hilarious. But luckily, it ended up working out okay. But that was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You hear that, listeners? If you get into an accident on TV and your parents see it, call them right away. Don't let them wait. Jeez.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Stuvers. We've got your back. That's irresponsible.
No, that's all I kept thinking of is that, because if I'm playing, I know you're watching, right? And knowing that the cameras are going to cut away to watch the Houston celebration, and knowing that usually they shy away from showing too much of injuries on the screen anyway, that would just like send me into a spiral.
Well, and I don't think Brad really realized what had happened. And
Sure.
He said he kind of got the idea more from looking at his teammates and how they were like losing color and waving to the trainers to come on the field, that he knew something was really wrong.
Yeah.
Probably
It's
that
funny.
adrenaline. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes like when you have those real bad injuries, the shock of it, you're so much more out of the pain than everyone else is looking at you. And you have to kind of like look in a mirror to see the blood to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're dipping a little into like kind of the Stuver family portrait here. And so I want to know the important questions. How did y'all meet?
Well, the first meeting, we went to the same church, but we didn't really know each other because she was a couple years behind me, and I just knew her as the tall girl who was in the youth choir, right? And in high school, I had seen her. She had become a cheerleader, and of course, I was a young boy and enamored by these beautiful cheerleaders. But I was watching a football game on a Sunday night. It was the Cleveland Browns, and we were Browns fans, even though we lived in Pennsylvania. And the doorbell rings, and my mom says, "It's for you." And I go out, and there stands at my front porch 4 beautiful girls and one of my classmates who could drive a car. And they were trying to kidnap me to go to our church youth group. And I relented and went, and that's how I got to talking to her. And then a few months later, I worked up the courage to call her. And Steph has heard this already. She knows where I'm going. And I just started rambling. And after I hung up the phone, I called my buddy back, and we were going to double date. And I started talking to him, and I said, "Oh, no, Andy, I never got to tell her my name." And Andy says, "Well, does she know it was you?" And I said, "I think so." And we ignored each other for the next week in school. We wouldn't pass each other in the hall. No more notes were being picked because I was afraid to talk to her for fear that she would say, "I don't want to go out with you." And she didn't want to talk to me because she was afraid, "Well, I think it was Ron, but I'm not really sure. So if I tell him yes, what if it wasn't him?
What if it wasn't you? Yeah.
Wait, so you
I
didn't
was the
know?
brave one, right?
So the what saved it all. So at this point, I think, Steph, I told you the other day, big L on the forehead, right? I thought, this is it. I'm never going to be successful asking a girl out. I'm just a loser. It's not going to happen. I'm standing out in front of the high school waiting for my bus to take me home from school, and I feel this little tap on my shoulder. And I turn around, and there stood this beautiful angel, and I heard voices singing. I couldn't breathe. My heart stops beating. And it was LeAnne, and I think she said something like, "We need to talk," or "We should talk." It was hard to remember the words. And I went, okay. And I got on the bus, and I think I started breathing after I got home. And long story short, she agreed to go out with me, and we started dating, and we haven't stopped dating since.
Oh, I love that.
That's so cute. LeAnne, did you know when he called that it was Ron?
Well, I kind of figured it was him.
Okay.
But I wasn't 100% sure. But I mean, I was guessing it was him. I didn't have a lot of other people calling and asking me out. So,
She's downplaying it now, huh?
no, I really,
The cheerleading singer.
Guys that were yes,
they didn't call me. They didn't- so,
I just
love
think
it.
that's so sweet because, I mean, clearly y'all have, 39 years is incredible. Congratulations. And it started from such like a sweet place and also a place of humor, and that you can look back on it now. And I'm sure it was not funny then, but just that.
I always decided that he was the right guy because he spelled my name right from the very first time he wrote me a note in my locker, because nobody spells my name right. So when he spelled my name right from day one, it was like, he's a keeper. No pun intended.
I didn't realize it was that easy, it was easy to spell her name, but I couldn't make the stupid phone call right,
Hey, dialing 7 numbers back then was hard. You get to that 6th one and you're like, I might quit. You know what?
But when I finally did dial that last digit, then I just fell apart, Mike. I lost it.
Yeah, it was before caller ID, so you didn't know it was caller.
I was gonna say, you got further than I did most of the times I tried. So like, respect. Okay, we gotta talk about this. How great is your son, Ryan?
He's tops.
He's a hoot.
Oh my goodness.
He is Brad's #1 fan, and we love when he takes the trips with us to Austin. Actually, the 3 of us see the game a little bit differently. So when we talk in the car, talk in the airports, we all bring something different to the flavor of the conversation about soccer. But the thing that LeAnne just mentioned is he just keeps us in stitches when we're traveling. He's just funny.
I mean, he and Brad fought like they never got along when they were kids. They were always fighting. And so now it's just really nice to see that, they get along, they talk, they play video games online. So, that's really nice to see.
What's he up to lately? Now he's a successful defender for his high school team with Brad, and then he goes off to college, and now what's he up to?
Yeah, so he played a little Division III soccer. He was injured his senior year and didn't get a lot of playing time through that. But after he graduated, he is now a very successful business development and account manager for a company that sells aftermarket automotive parts. So he works remotely from home for a company in New Jersey, and he's done really, really well with that. He's very good, and he's gotten into the whole coaching business. And he's now coming up on year 6, maybe, of high school coaching. And he's an assistant coach now with a private school in the area here. And we've gone to his games. And I think the thing that is most amazing is he's really become a great coach and mentor of these youth athletes. And we are really, really proud of how he handles his job and how he mentors these young players.
And the parents, we've been really thrilled with the parents we meet in the stands, and they want to know what kid we're there to watch. And we're like, no, we're here because our son's coaching. And then when they find out, who we are, they're like, oh, my son, he's wonderful with my son. So that's really nice to hear.
That's great.
And it's kind of sad for us that Brad's all the way in Texas and we don't get to see him all the time. But Ryan is only 20 minutes away, and he and his wife and their dog, we get to see them frequently. So that's nice.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah, I've heard nothing but very funny things about him, like that he is very fun and very funny. So
you guys need to interview him by himself. You'll have a blast.
Yeah.
when is he coming on the show? Like, let's do this. You got to text us his number, put us in a group chat, whatever. We'll make it happen. Ryan, if you're listening, man, we want you on the show.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you his number.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. We wanna ask him if he's instituting a wolf system over there in the high school, you know, how possession oriented he is. Maybe we should have Landon join us for the conversation.
Landon asked a dog a tactical question, so he'll talk about that with anyone.
Yeah. All right. So I think we should probably get to the meat of the conversation now, right? How amazing is Ashley Stuber?
She's great. She, since the very first time we met her when they were in college, she's just been a sweetheart, and she has put Brad's aspirations and dreams ahead of hers from day one. And I'm not saying that's always easy, but she's never really complained. She just goes with the flow and figures it out. And she completes him, I think, is the best way to do it. They are great together, and it's great to see.
And
it really seems like it.
And since I'm a dad that doesn't have any daughters, I have 2 daughters-in-law. And it's been very special for me to see that both of my sons have found women that are now completing them in their lives, just like I found LeAnne. And that's all I can ask for.
You're gonna make Steph cry on the podcast.
It's fine. I just love love so much.
Well, I'm going to stop being squishy about that stuff now. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, you'll get her going. She won't be able to stop. It'll be tears the whole rest of the night.
I'm just very emotional always, but it's just so, because I feel like since I have it with Mike, like I just want everyone to have that comfort of someone who completes you in that way. And it just makes me so happy when anyone else does. Even if I have never met them, I'm so happy for their love. And
you're gonna get me. Stop it.
All right. Talk about Brad.
Yeah, fine. We can talk about Brad Stuver now.
Any like childhood things, habits, quirks, anything that without embarrassing him too much.
Or embarrassing him a lot, that we can like put on signs and stuff, you know.
Let me give you 2 quick ones, just as questions to put in your notebook for Ryan.
Okay.
Brad's face into the concrete out front, and when he broke his arm at the park. Ask Ryan about those 2 incidences. You won't get any squishy, lovey-dovey answers in that conversation. Go ahead.
One of the quirks that drove most of us crazy was when we were driving Brad all over the place for soccer, for multitude of different teams. He was a big Backstreet Boys fan back in the day, and Backstreet Boys were blaring in the car wherever we went. It was cute though, because come wedding day, when he and I were talking about what song we were going to have for the mother-son dance, we decided that we were going to go ahead and go with Backstreet Boys, that number one fan song about, you know, mom being the number one fan. So it kind of came full circle, which was kind of cool.
That's so cute.
I love that.
I'm so glad to know, because now when we like talk to La Murga about like we need a Brad Stuver song, right? Now we know what we can base it on, and just blow his mind. That's fantastic. Murga members, if you're listening, start up those trumpets. Let's go. And honestly, that must be like really challenging, being a parent, like having to drive all over for soccer like all the time. At what point were you like, man, I hope my kids get into like dirt bikes or something that they can ride themselves to? You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, even once he was driving, he and I used to meet because we had to drive him about an hour one way for his development academy practice. And between homework and, you know, I just didn't want him driving that far on the freeway. And so we would meet. I would meet him after work and he would be after school. And so then we'd leave a car and I would drive so that could have something to eat. He could take a nap. He could do homework, whatever the case would be. So we spent a lot of time in the car with Brad.
Yeah.
The only good thing is you have him to yourself in the car. So it was kind of nice because you had that one-on-one time that at home, you didn't necessarily have because of the computer or the TV or, whatever. So there were advantages to being in the car, but we had a full-size van at the time that got terrible gas mileage.
Like
and that
one of
was
those 3-seaters?
Yeah. And it was back then when gas was more expensive than it is now. And so that was crazy.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. But
So
yeah,
I
we
think
spent a lot of time in the car.
Yeah, I have a question just off of that, because we did the same thing. Our rink was an hour and a half away, so like both ways. I will say doing homework in the car is an underrated skill. And I love that Brad has that also. But what was your go-to car meal? Because like having dinner on the way there or back.
I used to take them down the street. There was a McDonald's and a Wendy's. And I don't remember which one we went to most often, but when we were doing that drive all the way out to the west side, LeAnne had a few days and I'd have a couple days of the week. And I just remember when practice was over, it was late and he had to do his homework on the way out when there was sunlight.
There was
in the
light,
car.
yeah.
So we'd run down to like a Wendy's or something, Wendy's or McDonald's.
And a big night was when he didn't have too much homework. We stopped at Applebee's and actually ate something before we drove home. So,
wow.
But Mike, you were talking about, parents being crazy and doing those things. And we never saw that coming. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever looked at that with any type of angst or I can't wait until this is over. We never did that because I think we just enjoyed what both of the boys were doing. The only down part was there were a lot of times where they were both active at the same time and we had to split up. Mm-hmm. And that's when I would look at parents that had 3 or 4 kids and go, I don't know how they do it. Right.
Right.
Because at least there's 2 of us and 2 of them, we can at least split up and make sure that, we're covering one or the other. And we did have to do that quite often, but I don't think I ever, and I know you are the same, I don't think we ever regretted any of that stuff. It was fun family time and it just happened to be about soccer.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's
it's
really
like,
cool.
It reminds me a lot of the stories you tell of your dad driving you to and from the rink.
Yeah.
I
Did 5 a.m.s.
Well, I was going to say, we had better time than you did with rink time because that's always at the crack of dawn. We at least had after school times or evenings. But we would make, trips to Raleigh and Washington, D.C. for tournaments. And we just kind of made them into a family vacation. Sometimes the grandparents came along and we just kind of, soccer was everything we did. So,
And speaking of the grandparents, you got to meet my parents down in Austin. They hadn't seen Brad for a couple of years because of COVID and he moved to Texas and it was crazy. And, LeAnne and I just decided this past Christmas that we were going to give them as a Christmas gift, a trip to Austin. And they got to see the city. They got to finally spend some Brad time, which included, the Austin 2 game Friday night. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got to tell you about my mom Friday night. Did I tell you guys this already?
No.
So Brad took us through the training facility. Oh, by the way, ask Ryan about the training facility. He hasn't been there yet.
Yeah, we hadn't been there before. This was our first tour also.
So we see the training facility and we're walking out to go over to the stadium for the Austin 2 game. And along the way, we bump into the coach, Anthony Precourt, the owner of the team, some of the players, and all of a sudden, Seba Drusi is out there and Brad says, hey, Seba, come over here. My grandma wants to meet you. After Seb walked away, my mother turned around and went, not going to wash my hand.
And of course, Brad's like, thanks, Grandma. I thought I was your favorite player.
Honestly, though, like our listeners, there's going to be a good 98% of them that are like, same though, Grandma. Like, I get it. Like,
that's so sweet.
That's so cute.
But it was great having them there. They got to see Brad play in the stadium for the first time, live, not on TV. And It was heart-wrenching when he was doing all those crazy saves. My poor mother was bent over just doing face plants all the time. And then, we got to meet you guys, and they got to see Brad in his other element, right? In this off the field charity element. And they got to see him at work out there. And I think it made them feel really proud.
And they should be. He's such a special gift to the community. We're so happy to have him here. We knew right away when him and Matt Beasler teamed up when they first got to Austin, 2 weeks in or whatever, and they put out that big push for donations for the folks affected by that first winter storm. We knew we had a keeper there, we got it. We got to do as many of these as we can.
So I guess speaking of him being a keeper, talk about, I can't imagine that that's every kid's dream position. And I don't actually know if it might be.
I mean, here in Austin now, yes, everyone puts on gloves and they make literally. Yeah. Sonny Guadarrama told a story about the kids at his academy who get excited to put on gloves. They make saves and then they stand up and yell "Stu!" After they make a save.
Yeah.
So down here, Brad's changing the game.
Yeah.
Goalkeepers coming out of Austin hot.
But what was that like for him? You said he was quite little. How did he end up there? What was his goals, his dreams from that?
Yeah, I mean, when they start playing rec soccer, everybody's just out running around, right? And somewhere along the line, Brad became not only a goalkeeper, but on his youth baseball team, his youth travel baseball team, he was the catcher. And we said, there's something about this kid that likes balls coming at him and catching them. And he was pretty good at both, right? He had good eye-hand coordination for that kind of stuff. That said, as he was growing a little bit, we encouraged his youth travel coach to rotate, because there were other kids that wanted to put the goalkeeper gloves on because they thought that was kind of cool. So we said, yeah, because he asked us, do you mind? And we were like, no, Brad needs to play the field. He needs to run around too. But as he got older, that position became more solid on his, premier club team and ODP and development academy. He was absolutely the goalkeeper. But when he got to high school's kind of a mishmash of different talent levels at the high school level. And Brad's senior year, he had already set some high school records as a goalkeeper, because this was the fourth year going in as a goalkeeper. So not a lot of kids get to play that same position for 4 years straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, freshman walk on to the varsity team. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was 4 years on the varsity team, right? So that senior year, the coach says to me, Ron, he says, I'm thinking, we're 5 games into the season. We haven't scored a goal yet. Our offense is just lethargic, can't score. Geez, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Should I stop here?
Wow.
No, tell us how they fixed it.
Yeah, tell us how they fixed it.
Here's how they fixed it. The coach says, would you mind if I took Brad out of goal, because it's going to take games away from him and he could be setting even more records? I said, well, that's not my decision. You need to talk to Brad. I as a dad, you're not going to upset me. 6th game, first half, no goals. He makes the decision. He pulls Brad out of goal. I'm telling you, in the second half, within the first minute, Brad has the first assist and a goal. And at the end of the season, he was the top scorer on the team. And as LeAnne pointed out, even his freshman year, he was taking PKs, during the shootout.
Yeah.
So, throw him up top, Josh Wolf. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
He's tall.
Yeah, Brad would argue with that, though, because he will tell you he's a goalkeeper because he doesn't like to run.
Well, that's
so he doesn't want to do all the running training. And Ryan would tell you Brad's a goalkeeper because of him, because he always put him in goals so his friends and him, they could kick balls at him. So
I've heard that story.
On that. Ryan takes credit for Brad being a good goalkeeper.
That's right.
So. Okay. There's different versions.
Yeah. Everybody's got a different tale for how you end up between the sticks, I think,
And by the way, let me be very clear. I don't think Brad can go out there and replace Jazzy or
No.
It's on the
or
podcast.
Diego.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
Not at all.
no.
We're just having fun. So
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Anyone, this is probably a good time to put in this disclaimer. Anyone that listens to Swoontower and expects tactical analysis or insight, you're in the wrong place, dog.
It's not the show for you.
You got to listen
you.
every week to Landon and Jeremiah. Every other week, Steph and I are doofuses.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about Brad's high school career, and then he went to a D1 school. He went to Cleveland State. What was that kind of transition like between high school and college for him?
It was really a pretty smooth transition. We had, again, driven him around to a lot of different places. He had several D1 schools that, he was interested in. There weren't a lot of options at goalkeeper. He might have had to sit for a few years. He really wanted to play. And there were D3, D2. He really could have kind of had his pick at D2 and D3. But he really wanted to play D1 because he just was up to the challenge. He thought he was good enough to be able to do that. He knew the coaches at Cleveland State. They had talked to him early, but he had said, I don't want to stay in Cleveland. I want to go somewhere else. But it ended up being the right choice. They were, making it worth his while as far as scholarship goes. And he had an academic scholarship as well. And several of his local friends that he had played soccer with for years were also going there. So it was an easy transition for him into college. He knew the coaches, knew the kids. So that was good to watch, that it wasn't a big shock to the system really for him.
And Ron, you had a story for us at Hop Squad around college time. And I was hoping maybe we might be able to share that here now.
I think in general, there were some coaches that we've seen at the highest levels that, thought maybe when they first laid eyes on Brad, it might have been when he was a sophomore or a junior and he hadn't hit that growth spurt yet. So he was still just 5'0". So they just kind of looked past him, waved him off. By the time you get to that senior year and he's grown a little bit, there were just some opportunities that he got overlooked. And yeah, LeAnne and I talk about some of those situations and some of those coaches, and we wonder if they ever stop and go, I almost had that guy on my team back then.
Especially the last 3 years, right? Going from where he's been to arguably a top 5 keeper in our minds, the number 1 keeper of all time ever. Just really special. But
that's the thing.
Rise here.
He is very good.
Yeah.
And this being the first city that he's starting is just so wild to my non-soccer brain.
Well, and all of his goalkeeper coaches in the MLS are not surprised, because they all were very encouraging with him and said, you just need to play. You've got the skills. You just need to be in the right spot at the right time. And unfortunately, it's just harder for a goalkeeper because only one of you is on the field.
Yeah.
Right.
So he had to be patient, and it finally paid off.
Yeah. I mean, to the credit that the people he was backing up, he was behind some goalkeepers that played very well, that didn't get hurt. And it wasn't like it was anybody's fault. There wasn't any blame. It just, those guys were playing well, and Brad was just bidding his time. And it was hard in the MLS. It's hard for players to just pop out and say, I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, if you haven't put a body of work together as a goalkeeper, you don't have a lot of leverage to say, I want to go somewhere where I can start. So he really did have to just be patient and just persevere through it. And this was just such a gift, a
blessing, that Austin and the timing came together. And he knew that he had to grab the bull by the horns and run with it. And he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that said, Andrew Tarbell's a great guy. We got to know Andrew just a little bit. He was a great guy, and he and Brad got along just fine. And I think Andrew could be a starter in this league. And again, here's an example of somebody who could start on a team somewhere. And, he's behind a guy who's kind of a steel wall that just isn't going to fall over. Steve Clark just doesn't get hurt,
Oh,
Brad
I thought we were
was
talking about Brad.
Columbus.
I was going to say, because Steve Clark, that haircut, man, yikes.
Yeah.
What's a haircut? What are you talking about?
So Ron, some people have follicles on top of their head, not just on the sides and front. So they'll
those people don't have two boys, one of which is a professional goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Who goes to PK shootouts and makes crazy saves and causes my heart to stop.
I just think it's such a testament to your parenting and Brad's personality, that patience. Like you said, he didn't have too much of a choice, but also a lot of people would have quit. And to see him persevere through that, and clearly he's had great guidance. So it's just really interesting to see that perspective of it.
We've always had a saying here at home that we've used collectively for ourselves, but we taught it to the boys. Brad has it tattooed on his arm.
Rib cage.
On his rib cage.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason. So,
just suck it up. Keep moving.
Yeah.
I love that mentality. And right now in Austin, it's important to remember everything happens for a reason. It's all right. We're going to get through this.
Yeah. So I guess kind of wrapping up the soccer part of this, how has it been following Austin for the past 3 years? Obviously, Brad's been at a few clubs and you've been able to go to more than a few games in different cities, but we're really proud of the Austin vibe. And from an outside point of view, how has that been to kind of see him play here versus other spaces?
You should be proud of the Austin vibe because this is a whole different level. New York, it's New York, but playing soccer in Yankee Stadium, it was really cool to be in Yankee Stadium, but it is not a place to play soccer. And there's just so many other sports there that New York City FC kind of just gets muddled in. It's, it doesn't stand out. And unfortunately, hopefully there's not a lot of Columbus fans that listen, but they might. But in Columbus, there's a lot of people, at least when we were there, those years that Brad was in Columbus, you'd go out in the city and nobody was wearing crew stuff. And we'd go to a restaurant with Brad and Ashley before the game. And, the wait staff would say, "So what are you guys doing today?" And we're like, "Well, we're going to the soccer game." What soccer game? I mean, they didn't even know there was a soccer team or a soccer game. So coming to Austin is just been fabulous. I mean, from the first trip we came down when Brad lived in the Domain, all of the Austin flags that were hanging off the balconies, you walked around the Domain and there's jerseys everywhere. It's just, there is no place we have been that's been like this. Even the away games that we've gone to, I think we've seen more Austin jerseys in the crowds than we have the home team. So it's great.
Yeah, that first trip down, Ryan and I were in the car with Brad, and we went out to the Domain to pick up some food to go back to his apartment. So, all the girls were back there and just us three guys. And we pulled up to a stop sign, and there was a whole gaggle of Austin fans wearing their jerseys and stuff. And they walked by the car as we were stopped at the stop sign. And as Brad started to pull away because he was driving, I looked over my right shoulder and they were all pointing inside the car. And somebody actually started running down the sidewalk chasing us. They already knew who he was looking inside the car. And to LeAnne's point, we'd go to a restaurant in downtown Columbus with Brad and people didn't even know there was a soccer team. And here people were chasing us down the sidewalk already.
Yeah, it's like it's different here. I don't know what the hold is, but it's so deep in the community. And I think
It's fabulous.
I think they've done a
And
really good job.
Being at the fundraiser at Hop Squad for the Laundry Project and, seeing how much money was raised and all the supplies that were donated and talking to everybody that was there, it's just a fabulous community that's willing to help other people. And it's just a great, we're kind of connected from afar, but we're so proud that Brad's able to get so much support with the things that he wants to do there in the community. And so thank you to everybody for helping lift up the things that he wants to accomplish in the community as well.
So what you're saying, if I were to distill this down, is that Austin FC is the best team in the whole world, in the entire universe, and we have the greatest fans of all time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, Ron, LeAnne, this has been incredible. We've got one last rapid fire question set for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, the
Yes.
only caveat to these are non-Brad answers, please.
Okay.
I know he's your favorite player. You're wearing his shirt, but we got to be a little equanimous here.
Okay.
All right. Best smile.
I'm going to go with Rodney. I knew you would like that, Steph.
I love that. His sweet little
He has a
cherub
great
smile.
He does have a great smile. Best fashion sense on the team.
Got to be Julio, even though he gives his wife credit for it. It's still, in my opinion, Julio.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I also agree with that. Who would you run through a wall for? Who hypes you up?
So we agreed on this answer. This one, we both wrote this down. Anybody who's playing center back. Because they're going to help the ball not get to Brad.
Great.
I love it.
Such a safe answer.
And that has such a positive impact on our personal health, just so you know.
You hear that, Austin center backs? Do the Stuvers a favor. They're up there watching y'all every week on TV. Help them out. All right. Whose pose in the picture is your favorite?
Okay, I have to go back to last year.
Mhm.
There haven't been that
course.
many pictures this year.
There's only been the one. And it was
last
cold.
year, Tarbell holding Felipe has
Yes.
to be my favorite.
It's so fun.
Amazing.
Also, Andrew Tarbell looks gigantic holding Felipe.
He does.
Yes.
He looks like a giant. I don't.
Well, we met Felipe in person, and he's very small. So
Yeah.
Is he as intense in person as he is in?
he was with his
Performance.
wife and kids, and he seemed very laid back. We spent 5
I
minutes.
think he
talking
turns
to him.
that switch on when he hits the field.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
It
I
was
do
pretty
miss him a
obvious
lot.
when he hit the field. He was pretty intense. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. Panera mac and cheese bread bowls. Yes or no?
You go first
Oh,
because
no.
you're going to make Steph mad.
No
It's
cheese
okay.
from-
He
No
doesn't eat
No
cheese?
cheese.
And a
told me
Panera
she was gonna
Mac
I
bowl.
did. I told you she was going to be mad.
A
I'm not
Panera Mac
mad.
bowl would be so boring.
I'm not mad. I'm sad for you.
And I have never had one because that is way too many carbs for me to live happily after. But I would if carbs were more my friend, I definitely would eat it. So
Next time you're down, let us know.
We'll
We'll
split
swing by.
one.
Yeah. Steph
Okay.
can have half of one with you. Because
If we're going to Panera, I'll take a turkey chili, please.
Okay. All right. Write it down.
All right. So this question is all of the pre-match pictures of the boys. They all have these little toiletry bags that they carry with them. What would y'all carry in your toiletry bags?
Pretty simple for me. Toothbrush and a little deodorant.
All right.
I'd have some sunscreen, some lip gloss. Probably should throw in deodorant too.
So
Good answers.
not mac and cheese bread bowls.
No.
Okay.
No, and no hair product like Brad for me.
Oh yeah, we didn't even ask y'all.
No, we're not.
We're respecting
Yep.
the secrets. So-
We don't know it.
Secrets.
It's Gorilla Glue.
We don't know the secret. So it's a secret from us as well.
Last question. Most important question. Who is the man of your jersey?
I know you can't
Folks,
see it, but I'm wearing
can't
Brad's
see it.
jersey. So I'm wearing Brad's jersey. So I have never had another MLS jersey with anybody else's name on it. So it's only Brad. This one has to be Brad's answer.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I agree.
Fair
It's a good
answer.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great answer. He's the man of my jersey this week too.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for doing this. This was so fun. If you want, you can plug your Twitter here or like whatever plug you want to do, you can. This is your space on the sign off.
Our Twitter and our Instagram is boring. It's Keeper's Rule. We set it up when Brad was going to college as a keeper, so that we just kind of kept it.
And we used to run around saying keepers Rule.
So we're boring though. We're really not that fun to follow, but
I say that every time I go to hit send on a tweet, I think to myself, will Ron and LeAnne like this tweet, or will they like approve of this tweet? Because I'm not gonna tweet anything negative or salty, or you gotta like keep that standard of wholesome tweeting practice.
and we do follow you both now. So
And we couldn't be happier. Honest to goodness. Thank you all so much for your time. This has been
Amazing.
an absolute pleasure.
thank you for inviting us.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, Chris, this goes out specifically to you.
Happy birthday, Chris.
From one full Wellhausen family to another. We hope you're having a great birthday, bud.
Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you so much, Ron and LeAnne, for coming on and being such great sports, sharing so much joy and wholesomeness with us.
This was the coolest thing we've ever done.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I'm really appreciative for Landon and Jeremiah for letting us do this. So give them a like and a review and subscribe to their Patreon.
That's right. Give them all the 5 stars. Name us your favorite player, and we love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, but this high five.